When we think of investments, our mind often goes straight to money: stocks, savings, property, gold. We are taught from an early age that if we want security in the future, we must invest wisely today. But what if I told you there's an investment far more important than money, one that determines the quality of your relationships, your peace of mind, and even your physical health? That investment is healing your inner child. Your inner child is not a fantasy or a metaphor you can ignore. It is a very real part of your subconscious, the part that still remembers every word you heard growing up, every emotion you felt but didn't express, every fear you were told to suppress, every joy you were too scared to celebrate. This child within you carries the blueprint of your self-esteem, your attachment style, your emotional triggers. And unless you pause to acknowledge and heal that child, you risk living as an adult who is driven by wounds you never chose, but silently inherited. Think about the last time you got irrationally angry at something small, maybe a comment your friend made or a mistake your partner repeated, or the last time you felt invisible in a group, even though no one was ignoring you. These reactions often have little to do with the present moment. They are echoes of a younger self who once felt unheard, unloved, unsafe. The child inside you still waits for comfort, still waits for validation, still waits for someone to say, "You matter. You are enough." But when no one comes, that child shows up in your adult behavior, in your relationships, in your choices. This is why healing your inner child is not just self-care. It's the best emotional investment you can ever make. Because every unhealed wound compounds like debt. If you ignore it, interest piles on. The pain grows heavier, the patterns become stronger. But when you choose to heal, you create emotional wealth that pays off for the rest of your life. You invest in peace, in resilience, in love that feels safe instead of desperate. Many of us grew up in environments where being ourselves was not enough. Maybe you were told to stop crying, to stop being so sensitive. Maybe you were compared to siblings, told to toughen up, told that love must be earned. As children, we internalize these messages as truth. We think, if I have to be perfect to receive love, then I'm not lovable as I am. Or, if expressing sadness gets me scolded, I'd better hide my feelings forever. These beliefs don't just vanish when we grow up. They stay buried, shaping the way we view ourselves and others. The child who felt unworthy becomes the adult who seeks constant validation. The child who felt unsafe becomes the adult who avoids intimacy. The child who was silenced becomes the adult who struggles to speak up at work or in relationships. Healing your inner child means going back to those moments and rewriting the script. It doesn't mean blaming your parents endlessly or reliving every painful detail. It means acknowledging the truth of what happened to you and offering your younger self the love and understanding they never received. Imagine sitting with your 5-year-old self and telling them, "It wasn't your fault. You didn't deserve that pain. You are loved just as you are." That moment of compassion has more power to transform your life than years of ignoring the wound. The beauty of healing your inner child is that it creates ripple effects in every area of life. In relationships, you stop projecting old fears onto new people. You no longer demand that your partner become the parent you never had. Instead, you meet them as an equal, not as someone trying to fix you. In your career, you stop sabotaging yourself with fear of rejection. You stop hesitating to take up space in meetings, Stop doubting your abilities, because you've healed the part of you that once believed you weren't capable. In your health, you notice that your body relaxes. Stress reduces, sleep deepens. Because when your inner child feels safe, your nervous system no longer lives in constant survival mode. But how do you begin this healing? It starts with listening. Most of us go through life drowning in noise, notifications, deadlines, conversations, while our inner child whispers beneath it all. That whisper says, "I'm still hurt," or "I need you." Healing begins when you slow down enough to listen, maybe through journaling, where you let your child self speak without judgment, maybe through meditation, where you visualize holding your younger self, maybe through therapy, where someone helps you connect the dots between your present triggers and your past wounds. Once you hear the voice, the next step is reparenting. Think of all the things you wished your parents had said or done for you. Can you do them for yourself now? If you wished someone told you they were proud of you, tell yourself that every morning. If you wish someone held you when you cried, allow yourself to weep and wrap your arms around your body with tenderness. Reparenting means becoming the adult your inner child always needed, offering love, protection, and encouragement consistently. Over time, the child within begins to trust that you will not abandon them again. The return on this investment is profound. People who heal their inner child often describe feeling lighter, freer, more authentic. They stop performing for approval and start living in alignment with who they truly are. They find it easier to set boundaries because they no longer fear that saying no will cost them love. They become more creative because the playful, curious energy of childhood is unlocked again. They stop repeating toxic relationship patterns because the part of them that was once desperate for love has learned to receive it within. And perhaps most importantly, healing your inner child is an act of generational change. When you heal, you stop passing down wounds to the next generation. You don't repeat the cycle of criticism, neglect, or suppression with your own children, your students, or anyone who looks up to you. You create a new legacy, one where love is unconditional, where emotions are safe, where children grow up knowing they are enough. That ripple effect is perhaps the greatest return on investment anyone could ever hope for. The truth is, ignoring your inner child is expensive. It costs you peace. It costs you connection. It costs you years of joy. But healing your inner child is the kind of investment that grows with time. The more you nurture that younger self, the more emotional wealth you build. You find that love feels safer, success feels easier, and life feels lighter. So take a moment right now. Close your eyes and picture yourself at 5 years old. What did that child need most? Maybe it was safety. Maybe it was acceptance. Maybe it was simply to hear, "You are enough." Now imagine giving that to them. Feel the release, the warmth, the softness. That is the beginning of healing. That is the beginning of your greatest emotional investment. Because in the end, the truest wealth is not in your bank account. It is in the way you feel when you wake up in the morning. It is in the peace you carry in your chest. It is in the love you share without fear. And none of that is possible unless you care for the child who still lives within you. Heal that child, and you will discover a richness of spirit that no money can buy. That is why healing your inner child is the best emotional investment you will ever make. If this resonated with you, please subscribe. Let us build a community together where no one is alone.